Exactly.
Okay, good, good, good. Welcome to State of Play. And there's only one thing to talk about. One, Galamsey. Has anything changed since 24 hours ago?
Nothing has changed.
Oh, actually, I think that a lot has changed.
I think a lot has changed.
Why? First and foremost, the people 48 hours ago were worried were not participating in the conversation. Have all come, most of them have come to the table. It's not so.
Yes.
We mentioned pastors, we mentioned TUC, and of course, that group, they hardly even issue statements. People did not know that it existed. They are apostolic fathers. But it's perhaps the most powerful of the charismatic movement in this republic. They had a statement out. The TUC itself, the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, the Christian Council, all put out statements, and other small bodies also joined, which is all good. We are all on the same table.
So you see how I look at it? You know how I look at it? I look out for the action.
I was coming to that.
Yes.
The only people, what's the name of that guy? The Bible, the only one,
Was it a GBA?
No, the only pharaohs in this conversation are all sitting in government, and let's be fair. Because you can see, even these people who used to say, declare emergency, they are willing to shift from that. To say, see, but I want to see real action. What are you going to do? All that Jinapo is interested in is first and foremost, please, you can't ban small-scale mining because it is we are surviving on it, which is a palpable lie. This country that survived without 3 billion euro money is dependent on what? Small-scale mining. In any case, we used to get 1.5 billion by now. We are in September, going into October from
Cocoa syndicated.
Yes. If that did not make us survive, how is this republic? And if you told me that there are 10 major mining firms in Ghana, they are not talking about those ones, and nobody's mentioned them. They are not the cause of anybody's worry in this republic. Those 10 major mining firms, those are the ones that if you tell me they are not producing today, I will be worried about the impact on our economy. I hope you get a point. But nobody, because the estimations have always been under 30% for the grouping that
the last time was 36%.
I mean, yes, even if you
$1.7 billion.
Even if you want
half-yearly contribution, $1.7 billion.
If you want
Scale.
Yes, Moscow. That's
even if you want to extend it to
ministry.
40%, you are comparing that 40% to the survival of you and I in this country. Okay, so if you all die, what will be the impact of that 40%?
For me, what has changed is the organized labor's involvement in the fight.
Well, it's true.
For me, that
with timelines anyway.
Exactly. That they were very specific. They were very specific. They were ultimatum has been issued. They've told us what they will do. The thing I don't like about organized labor is whenever they have an issue, they will start by saying, when the time comes, we'll advise ourselves. I hate that. The first time they went public, they didn't add that line to it. They said end of September. As of yesterday, 18 days more. Today, 17 days more to go. If it expires, they said we'll do two things. We're going to hit the streets and protest, and then we're going to withdraw.
Culminating into a strike.
And strike. That for me is the game changer, because it's not this one is not only organized labor. It is everybody, really, everybody. I mean, because if you look at the groups that yesterday all showed the press
lined up
conference,
there,
and something interesting happened. The organized labor did their press conference separately.
That's true.
From the media coalition.
Yes.
And media coalition obviously had the clergy, they had the religious leaders, the office of the chief imam,
other civil society
groups, individuals, so the whole host. And by the evening, I lost count of how many statements had come in.
That's true.
Almost every institution, every association had issued a statement by close of day. And everybody else says they're going to join at the end of September if nothing happens. That for me is a game changer. And the government now really has no choice than to act. So you saw the statement from the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry yesterday. I think they should not have issued that statement.
Yeah.
I think they failed to read the room.
That's true.
Because that only served to make the everybody else even more angry. If you listen to the reaction that we got, in fact, I had the chairman of the TUC on PM Express, when I read the thing out to him, he was emphatic. He was livid at what had been said in that statement. You know, and that if they think that this is what's going to solve the matter, they're joking, and that they shouldn't even dare call their bluff. So it made them even more determined to go. I've heard the Land and Natural Resources Minister say that state of emergency declaration it's unrealistic, something to that effect. I mean, just to paraphrase him. But at this moment,
in any case, nobody asked him to do that. The Natural Resources Minister is not the one who declares state of emergency in the country.
he's the president.
Yes.
He's the president. I mean, look.
So at some point, you are just causing needless trouble for yourself by putting yourself in that middle. And if you have seen, when Organized Labour issued the statement, they said these demands are to the president.
Yes.
Not to you, minister.
Yeah.
So essentially, there's some kind of thinking around this point that suggests that we are no longer dealing with you. But it's also important that every single commentary of the minister is yet to, it's as if, oh, we need to protect this. It's as if the situation is not as serious as you people are portraying it. It's not doomsday thing. It's, oh, well, I mean, we are surviving. Everybody is going on fine. We are fighting it. And if you listen to the minister, you will think they have already deployed thousands of soldiers.
And they are continuing.
Yes, and they are continuing. It's business as usual. Oh, we will increase it. Like the way they tell you, oh, no, we are dealing with this matter. Then we'll step up. That is not, I think he's dealing with a different scenario. I think maybe the feedback he gets is different from the feedback everybody gets from us. I think maybe when the likes of Erastus show the evidence, he sees a different set of evidence. So that's why I said,
let me bring the evidence, let's see.
Yes, because maybe that will help us out. Because the minister is acting as if all regional ministers, and you know the funny part, when he spoke in that conversation, just 1 week before that time, you heard the Eastern Regional Minister speak. He spoke on peace and said, listen, in the early years, there was a time that they are sending grouping to go and meet a group. He had some policemen with him. When they went there, they were about 30. The people who were going to fight, they outnumbered them, but the kind of guns they had, they realized this bloodshed, I have to avoid it by asking my people to leave. This is Regional Minister, Eastern Region, telling you this. Raymond. Then you go into a meeting and say, oh, we will step up. What Raymond. Is that definition of the step
Raymond,
up?
I have told you two before that, look, we're just joking with this thing we call a fight against Galamsey.
Yeah.
And last week, I mean, last week or two, when we were calling on all of these people, TUC, Christian Council, everybody to speak, a professor called me. And what he said, I think I've repeated that before. He said, look, we did a research and went to mining areas. We saw Ivorians, Nigerians, Malians, Nigerians.
Wow.
I didn't believe him until yesterday.
Yeah.
A woman called me. I know her very well. In her hometown. And Weston, that place, there are less than 400, the original people in that hometown. It's around Obo. It's a small town. That town, very quiet, very serene, all the vegetation. If you go and see that town, now they have a brothel in that town. And the people around the brothel, they are not Ghanaians. That town, now in the evening, it's almost like this is somewhere, it's one of the towns in Accra. And the kind of crime that's happening there, the threats that old women who are retired and are keeping their peace in a small corner, they are being subjected to.
Let me tell you something. This professor, he told me how, talk about brothel, they have nightclubs in the villages, they drive the best cars, and they are armed. Some even have ammunition more than the police service. They are well armed. And so, just as the head of the Water Resources Commission told you, that today when they are going to even check the water, they have to beg Galamsey seek permission because they've mounted
criminals
barriers where they are holding guns. One of my friends told me, he's a custom official. He said he was driving in the middle of around midnight. These guys were mining. So when they saw it, you know that customs guys are also armed. They also carry weapons. So when the guy flashed, he was just driving and he saw this light there. And these guys flashed their lights at him and said, stop. The guy was holding an AK-47. So he quickly had to hide his weapon. They asked him, what are you doing here? He says, oh, I am going to the border town. I'm a border guard, and I'm just going to check. And they said, okay, you can go. He was telling me that, so when it happened like that, he was supposed to go and return. He didn't return because it was night. He stayed there and came back the following day. The point I'm making is that if we don't stop this illegal mining today, we may have to start a whole war on these people. This is a full-scale war because the guys are now very armed, and they have now entrenched their crime to the extent where they are very wealthy and they are influencing communities. And what is going to happen is that these community members are going to be of the belief, okay, that if these people lose, if these people are sacked from that area, it's a loss of livelihood for them.
That's true.
And the loss of their source of livelihood becomes a reason why they must fight. And if we are not careful,
they'll be willing to fight.
These guys will be willing to fight the government. These people would eventually supply arms to these guys.
Yeah.
And they know the terrain more than you do. You know what that is going to lead to? It is going to lead to a guerrilla warfare.
That's true.
It can actually lead to a full-scale war. And this is what happens, Evans. If our people do not know, if our ministers are not aware, Mao Zedong did not just start as what he calls a protracted war. What Mao Zedong did was actually to live within communities and indoctrinate them.
Yeah. And they're doing that today.
He sold his idea to them. Today, they're doing that. And once they do that, okay, and these people, over time, and you've seen the Galamseyers, they die all the time. It's not like they care. They die in these, pits.
The death is welcome because it's believed to fertilize the ground for the gold.
So, look,
it fertilizes the ground so that you can get more
fear,
gold.
And people call my fear, and the reason I say the things I say, my fear is that as a country, if we are not careful, the peace that we enjoy, we're going to lose it. And unfortunately, even where we've reached today.
And it's a bigger threat today than terrorism.
Look,
it is.
Where we've reached today.
You don't have to look far. Just look to South America.
Yeah, the military.
South American countries.
The
narco wars.
The military.
Which is typical of what will happen.
Yeah, the military may have to. We cannot use the police. We cannot.
Yeah.
The military is the only group that we can use. And the military will get to the point where they have to go in there, shoot to kill. Some of them are going to die as a result. But they would have to go in there and shoot to kill in order to protect our environment.
And this is the painful thing for me. And just to back the point about they're setting up brutels, etc. National security source of mine said in one of the communities, the Chinese had built a casino. A casino in the community. But that casino...
In a village?
In a village. That casino is for Chinese only.
Really? In Ghana?
Yes, in Ghana. That the community members, the Ghanaians who, of course, this is where they've lived all their lives, are not allowed into the casino. And the place is full every evening. Full every evening. And they had to raid it at some point. They were armed. When they got in, they were actually using the casino as that's the engine room, the factory for turning the ores into the refined gold.
And processing it. How do you call it? They are mini refineries, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
It happens. And,
exactly.
And you can see the machinery they are importing to this country. Yeah. Some people clear it at the ports of this country. Yeah. They know that these machines are for refineries, yet they are allowing all of that to happen.
So that's where we are in terms of the problem. And this is, it doesn't deserve a state of emergency. I don't know what else deserves a state of emergency. This is beyond state of emergency. And you see, that the thing that breaks my heart, and that's why we're talking about it here on State of Play, it's the politics. The reason why this problem persists is partisan politics, pure and simple.
End of discussion.
That's it, really, that's it. The reason why and in his statement yesterday, he mentioned it, that we should take partisan politics out.
Yeah.
But the reason why he himself, the president and everybody else is enacting, of course, when the president came in 2017, he said, I'll put my presidency on the line. He had just won. He was basking in the glow of an election victory, right? The 2020 was far off. He didn't, of course, historic victory at the time. He didn't think that anybody was standing his way. He didn't appreciate the problem in terms of the partisanship and how it could hurt him. The minute he appreciated it in 2020, they just dropped the ball. And that is why we are where we are. And for me, there's a correlation between proximity to an election and the severity of the turbidity. The closer you are to an election, the worse the turbidity.
Nobody even...
The further you are from an election, it improves, because you see what will happen after 2024. In the first year, they will do more in terms of fighting it. When you get close to an election, because they have to win elections, the turbidity, and there's evidence to show this. Before the 2020 elections, it was better. And shortly after, now it's the worst it's been, right? It is pure politics. And trust me, all the parties and their agents in the communities and villages are campaigning in these illegal mining areas and telling them that, look, we're not going to destroy your business. We're not going to destroy your business. Of course, I've seen the statement denying that the running mate to Baumia had said they were going to. I've listened to the Fuller thing in which he says small-scale mining. But still. But what business has government supplying in the excavator to anybody? Of course. Mindful of your history. Of course.
Mindful of your history. That you arrested 500 excavators in this country. Up till now, you can't account for it.
Yeah.
Nobody in the ministry can account for it.
But here's the absurdity in the explanation.
Yeah.
Why do you need excavators for small-scale mining?
Yes.
The kind of
excavators... thinking around that thing.
The kind of excavators that you require to do small-scale mining. Small-scale mining is small-scale mining. The kind of excavator that are deploying in the field, that's the kind of excavator that destroys the forest, destroys the water bodies and leaves. And you're going to give it back to them. What do you think you're going to be used for? And I think that whole, and this is state of place, so we can say this, that whole NAPO going around the country and saying some of these things, it just betrays the mindset. And unfortunately, he isn't alone. This is what we've heard.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there are many more.
If we give all of them microphones across the country.
But to be fair to small-scale miners, I mean, of course, those who even are in legal, they use excavators. But this is the point.
But immediately you do that, you actually leave that zone.
Yeah, of course. But
you no longer qualify to become small-scale mining, because this debate came up.
Yeah.
In fact, then we said we are even going to look for, is it between the big boys, the top 10, and the small-scale mining? We're going to look for a middle ground where it was possible for them to use that. Yeah. Because every conception from the beginning of a small-scale mining had no role for that. Yeah. And that facilitates the destruction of the environment.
But now they do. But this is the point. This is the point. You see, I don't understand the sort of politicians we have in this country.
Charlie.
Yeah. At least you trying at this time. No, don't mix. Look, you be tactical, right? Pretend that you're not even going to be.
It saddens me.
Pretend you like the fights.
And I'll say this. Look, part of the reason you see that a government is not able to commit openly is the fear that if they do, the opponents will go back and say, we will give you permission.
Free pass.
We will give you, will license you to operate. So the fear now is that it's an election year. And you see, when Professor Adair suggested a state of emergency initially, he said, oh, he knows that they won't do it this time. And I was asking, but why won't they do it? The truth is that, and I've had politicians who have called and said, sent messages and said, you people, why are you doing this thing? You know. Some people in government, if we go and fight them right now, our opponents will go and pledge support for them and we'll lose the election. So why don't you call on all of us then? So they start suggesting to you, call on all of us. All of us will be in the same game so that they will not benefit from the fight that we're going to start. And that for me is, and you heard even the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, when we spoke to him last week, Raymond, talking about the fact that, if you start a fight, even people in your own party tell you elections are close, you're hurting our chances. Then the opposition goes to the people and says, we'll support you. Then, as a result, we're losing. But this is it for me. Don't we care about the environment? Today, I don't even know what to eat.
It's dangerous, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know what to eat again.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been advised
if it comes to mind,
We've been advised to don't eat a lot of meat, eat a lot of fish. You don't know where the fish will come from.
But was it not the way? I had the video always with me. Remember that professor's video? We put it on our platform. Who said they did a study and realized that in the gills and and other parts of the fish that they caught within some of these areas, they were all with mercury deposit. And he even joked and said, so he's careful about what he's consuming on the fish. He doesn't touch the bone, he doesn't touch the gills, he doesn't touch. Is there a small flesh area that he consumes?
Right now, I am worried.
But he can pay for it. You think about it. How many people with that money would even know that what they are consuming is already? And when they get all the diseases and get all the conditions, they have to rely on this health system that every time we have to beg them before they can support some people's dialysis and all of that.
I'm thinking of, so the fufu that you go and eat, where's the cassava from? Where's the plantain from? You don't know.
The bushmeat.
The bushmeat. Where's it from? You don't know. So now we don't, look, if I had money, to be very honest with you, I'd say I'd want to even buy imported food to eat. But can you survive on imported food?
Every bit of that. And if you can, maybe your immediate family. How about the extended family?
Let me just back that. So this week we spoke to the Peasant Farmers Association, and before the interview, the president shared a video. Guess what, Winston? We're talking in the country where irrigation facilities aren't available. These peasant farmers have come together in one community, and they've managed to dig an irrigation pond. Well done, irrigation pond, to feed their farms. The Galamseyers have dug up to the point where the irrigation facility, the water body that they're using, that the irrigation itself, is filled with the mercury, and it's as green as anything else. But the farmers have no choice. So they are still using that water because they spent money to develop and build that irrigation dam.
They're killing us.
Right? And when you watch the video, Raymond, this is a well-constructed irrigation facility. And because, of course, you get rain from there, but they also feed into it from the rivers. But they are not, it's not the destruction of the irrigation facility. It's not coming from the rivers, but they're actually digging. But they came to one of the farmers and said they wanted to buy his farm, and he refused. Then they go and they cut him off. They've been doing it to the point where now it's the silt and everything else has seeped into the irrigation.
Is it tailings or something?
Tailings have seeped into the irrigation facility.
Basically destroyed your land.
So back to the point. So they are still growing crops, right? But they are forced to use that same water. They're forced to use that same water.
You see what we
and you sit in a car and say, oh, no, the vegetables in that corner, they are using gutter water.
Drink it. And he was talking about, look, food shortage, food crisis is just a matter of time. Smallholder farmers, they really run the agri sector because the large scales are just small. Majority of farmers are small. The peasant farmers, they grow here, small here, they put it together, and somebody will come and aggregate and come and sell to us. But the aggregators are aggregating crops harvested and grown with water that has been polluted heavily by illegal mining, and that's what we're going to be eating. So look, this is I mean, you run out of words.
They're killing us.
And it's painful. Sometimes you think about it. I mean, see, we know that we are not in a very good state as a country, the economy and everything, but it's almost as if, and we know that greed is part of mankind, but to be greedy to the point that you are willing everybody else should die, including the illegal miners in this case. And sometimes the folly is that some people think they are isolated. They ask them, how about your family members? How about those who live in your village? Are they all isolated? How about your own children? They feel that, no, we can still do it. Oh, in the future, they will have a conversation about it. And the people we have given power to protect us. And that's where the conscience comes in. Those people, the reason why we give them the power is that we know elephants can be greedy. I can also put other interests first. But those people, we put them in charge purely for a simple reason, to put the state's interest first.
Yeah.
That's all. And yet they have the conversations with that. Oh, no, I can't do anything. You know, it has become partisan. It's become political. Then ask yourself, then why are you there? If you are not thinking like me, who's putting my private or parochial interest to first, why are you there?
Anyway.
Come on.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.